Beautiful people, welcome back. And in this video we are going to talk about some of the documents that you should give to IRCC that can easily give you a study visa. Of course, visa is never guaranteed, but there are things that you can do to change the story of your visa or to quickly get the visa from IRCC. Yes, so in this video, we are going to be talking about three main things, and I will break them down to you one after the other. And these three things I'm going to be talking about include: one, ties to your home country; two, progress of study or study progression; and of course, three, I'm going to talk about your financial background and a letter called letter of explanation. So if this is something you are looking for, please do not forget, like our video and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. This way you are helping us build a platform as well. So remember, I have always said that you can do your visa application yourself. If you are finding difficulties accessing universities, then you should get the services of someone. Or if you are still finding difficulties applying for the visa, remember you are going to get the study permit at the port of entry in Canada. But what you are applying for is a short-term visa on IRCC, or the study permit, or what you can call it, no problem. But you need some documents and you need some techniques to use. If you are finding difficulties applying yourself, get the services of somebody you can rely on and somebody you can trust, because this is a very delicate thing. I don't want somebody that will go and do your application. At the end of the day, you say that the person, instead of putting your names correctly, the person put his or her name, because I got a complaint like this few weeks back, which is so degrading. Now let's start with what you should do when it comes to strong ties back home. Ties may come from various ways, all right? And the very first way you can prove family ties is with family members. Like if you have maybe your family, let's assume that maybe you are married, you can then show pictures of your family, of course, certificates of the marriage. You show pictures of your husband or wife and children, all right, to support the marriage, that it was actually a legal marriage. This is way, let's assume you want to use a visitor's visa or a study permit. This way they will understand. Remember, you're not just showing pictures, you need to explain in your letter of explanation and equally show other documents like birth certificate. But remember, this is a marital status, or this is a strong family ties as well. It may not play a very important role, but it will help your visa. Now, in the case you are maybe moving with your family, what are you going to show? If you have some of your kids back home, you can equally put them as proof of ties that you still have family members back home. Or you can even put your parents, or if your father has a medical problem or your mother has a medical problem, you put them as proof of home ties by saying that you are going to return to them and this is their medical condition, because without you, they will not be able to cope. At least it's going to help you, all right? Then if you are moving with your entire family, there is something we call economic ties. If you want to move with your wife and your children, now it is time for you to say, I have a business back home. As soon as we move in there, they are going to return back, or I'm going to come back home to continue with my business. In this case, you are going to show the business documents. Or if you say, I have an employment offer, I'm still working with this company, I will not be long, I'm just away for maybe 3 months, 4 months, I will be back. Of course, show your letter of employment, or maybe your employment leave letter from your employment, for your employer, right? It is going to help you. This is the case where you are moving with your family. Or if you are moving alone, you can still support the documents. The more documents you show and the more you can prove that they are legit, the more your chances of getting the visa, if at all the other proofs or other documents are intact. If you have properties or real estates, then you can equally show documents for it. If you have lands, advantage. If you have cars, advantage. Show them and show everything that is in progress. Now let's move to the other part. We are done with the ties and let me say proof of home ties, family ties, economic ties, or whatever. Let's go now to progression in studies. Now if you had studied before, maybe you had a bachelor's in geology before, now you want to go and study something human resource management, make sure that what you are currently doing now is related to human resource management. Let's assume that you graduated maybe with nursing 4 years ago and now you are a teacher teaching in a primary school or a secondary school, make sure you apply for things related to curriculum studies. Make sure you apply for things related to early childhood education. This way, you can better explain why you are taking early childhood education and link it to what you are currently doing. You may say that you want to get a higher position in the school you are teaching, maybe a principal post, or maybe you want to open a school in your community and you need knowledge from all of this that you are going to study. And always make sure you tell the visa officer that after your study program, you have to return back home. Very, very important. Now, this is the possibility, or let me say this opportunity is when you have some progression in studies. Do not apply for your degree program. Let's assume that you graduated maybe 4 years ago in zoology and now you are chasing a zoology program, whereas after 4 years you are not in school, you are still working as a banker. It doesn't make sense. All right, so this is what you need to know. Another thing I want to stress more about is a letter of explanation. Remember, you always need to tell the visa officer how you are going to be getting your money to finance your studies. You need to tell the visa officer the name of your school, the name of your program, how long is the program going to last, and of course, you have to return back home. All the ties I talked about, you need to explain them on your letter of explanation. You need to tell the visa officer why you choose to study in this particular country and not the United States or Great Britain or Scotland or UK. You need to tell the visa officer what this particular program is going to do to you, and this is where you have to link the study progression into it. Always make sure your program is going to help you solve one problem in your society or in your environs or in your community or in your country. They are the same things, but at least highlight a problem that you want to solve. You may be studying, going for early childhood education because you are already a teacher, and the children in your community have problems going to school. The schools are located far into the cities, and you want to help build a school in your community and also control it with other individuals. But without knowledge of early childhood education, you may not be able to teach. You may not be able to give assessment. So you need this knowledge, though you are not the one controlling the school as the head teacher, but you need knowledge to also teach in the school. This is how you draw correlations to your program and your letter of explanation. You need to explain to the visa officer why you have decided to choose Canada rather than, I already talked about that. It is very, very important. Always draw conclusions based on what you have been doing. So that is it. For the letter of explanation, a whole lot of things that you need to explain. Make sure they are clear to the point. Now, the most important part, which a lot of students get rejected, is proof of funds. Please do not lie. Don't say you have a cousin in Canada whereas you don't have a cousin. Don't say you have a sister in Canada whereas it's not your sister. Don't say the person in Canada lives in Quebec whereas he lives in Ontario. Things like this will lead to your rejection, and understand that although you are paying part of your tuition fee, it doesn't guarantee you a visa. This is something a lot of international students fail to understand. If you do not write a complete or a clear letter of explanation, you may not get a visa. Financial sponsorship or financial part. Who is going to be your sponsor? Yourself, your parents, your father or mother, your siblings. Now, if the money is in your account, how are you getting the money? Are you a business person? Do you own businesses? Show proof of the documents. If the money is in your father or mother's account, how are they getting money? Do they work? Do they own companies? Show documents of that. Do you have a business? If you have businesses, if you have properties, if you have landed properties, you need to show all of this. And landed properties will prove as ties back home. Of course, proof of funds is going to be a bank statement first to prove that you have the money in the account. Then secondly, the money in your account, how is it coming about? Do you have a business? Are you working? You show all of that. If your parents work, they need to show all of that. If your sisters work, they need to prove that. Are they in different countries? Let them prove that they are employed and how they are getting money. And of course, write letter of sponsorship for you. All right. Then you may even get affidavit of support to support the claim. So this is how it is. Can a company sponsor me? Can my boss sponsor me? When you start going to your uncle, when you start going to your company, your chances of getting the visa reduces. But I'm not saying that you cannot get it. You can get it, but it reduces when the person sponsoring you does not have the same name, the same surname as you. So please, you have to pay attention to this. It is very, very important so that IRCC can give you a visa. Of course, your visa can delay like others, but you need to keep praying and put more effort. Do the right thing so that at the end of the day, you can be successful. I hope this video helps you. Till we meet again in another one. Peace.